So the SNL sketch has helped us. Guitar Hero has helped us. Of course, they've done 3 of our songs, and we play Cities on Flame now, and you know everybody's singing. How do they know this song? It's Guitar Hero. I had no idea.
He was too pleased with himself. I never liked Elvis at all. For pretty much the same reason I never much liked Paul McCartney either. I wasn't a big Beatles fan. I kind of like things that were a bit more... I like grumpy people.
One day, when we finished mixing Mountain Climbing, Felix finished, we were at the record plant, and Studio A and Studio B was Jimi Hendrix doing Band of Gypsies. And Felix says to me, go ask Jimmy to come in and listen to it. I said, well, you're asking me to ask him? I mean, I'm a punk kid from Forest Hills, New York. What am I gonna, Jimi Hendrix? So, what do I have to lose? So I walk in, I say, Mr. Hendrix, Felix Pappalardi would like you to come in and listen to our album. It's finished. And he comes in, and Never in My Life's on our first track on that. And he hears me doing the riff. He looks at me, he says, that's a great riff, man. As soon as he said that to me, none of my friends could talk to me again. I mean, I forget them.
All this without our parents having a clue, right? So finally the day comes, he gets us a little deal with Gone Records. And of course we're only 15 and 16 years old, so we need our parents to come down and sign. And so I told my parents, it was a Sunday morning, and I said, I had to confess, you know, all those times I said I was at the library, told them the whole story and said, so all the parents are meeting uptown to sign a contract. And my Italian mother said, oh, no, you don't. She told my dad, watch your daughter, I'm going uptown.
Then we did this reunion tour. And Don Brewer came to me one night in the hotel room after a gig, and we'd, you know, party, and hey, we're all friends. And he comes and he says, we need to all of us sign our ownership of the trademark into the corporation where it'll have this, some protection umbrella or some crap. And I didn't see it coming. I did not see it because I thought he was my friend. At that time, he had me convinced that he was my friend. Then 2 out of 3 in the corporation makes a decision. Doesn't matter if you wrote all the songs. If you got 2 guys against your 1 and they vote you out of the corporation as an officer, like they did me, I don't have any say-so over that trademark or anything to do with it anymore.
I was raised in foster homes, you know, orphanage for a while, foster homes. Had a mother and father, but they're 16 when I was born, so my dad got shipped off to Korea, and my mom got shipped off to the nut house. So, you know, had a nervous breakdown, young age, blah, blah, blah. So I was raised mostly in foster homes, which is the irony of, I could say, wow, what a tragic story. But if I wouldn't have been raised in foster homes, I probably wouldn't have had a career.
It's more than anything, it's men together, men in their 20s together. You know, we don't have great communication skills till sometimes never, but maybe till you're 40, you think, oh, maybe I could actually talk this through with somebody, you know, or maybe if you have an on-the-road shrink, you could figure out stuff as you go along, as opposed to letting things get out of hand, you know.
I had decided that if I didn't get this deal with RCA at that time, I was going to become a cosmetologist. I was going to go into hair and makeup, and I mean, I was that close.
I got creamed. I mean, I was called gay, and I was called, you know, a fop. You know, because I was coming from America and they were all this English stuff, you know, and it's all very like this, you know, and I was more like the American bands where you could just run around stage and just have a blast. But, you know, Richie was like, wrap your leg around the mic and just be strong and all, and he taught me a lot.
Johnny and I were just little kids. When I was 4 or 5 years old, we started out playing ukuleles, singing Everly Brothers songs. And I thought there was nothing unusual about it, and didn't realize there was anything special about music until we started to try to form bands and with our friends around the neighborhood. And they go, what do you mean, your daddy didn't show you any chords?
I had 2 kids, and there was a car accident they were both in. One of them died, and the other one survived. And at that point, the road wasn't just not an option.
And I saw the slightest tear for what my steel would bring, but I would not be that merchant, for I was listening for you to call me Carolina. Rock me with that melody, find me where I roam, and yes, sweet Carolina.
I did entertain going to school, but I didn't do it because I wanted to learn. I did it because I thought my dad would pay for it. And after I signed the entrance, note for when I got my electronics degree, he said, "Oh, that's great. I think it's great he's going to school. It's going to teach him, a lot. It's also going to teach him fiscal responsibility because he's going to pay for this." And I just looked at him like, "You son of a bitch." But anyways.
As a matter of fact, that's what Mississippi Queen was. It's actually a backbeat that I copied from Levon Helm from Cripple Creek. And Levon's a good friend. He's a lovely man. And I remember going to him and saying, "Levon, do I owe you any publishing? Because, Mississippi, I'm using that fat backdrop. Up on Cripple Creek, and Mississippi Queen." Anyways, he looked at me and says, "Corky, I do not hear Cripple Creek and Mississippi Queen whatsoever. You just hold on."
I face every New Year calendar, every looming empty block of time as a challenge and as an insecurity about whether I'm going to be able to continue to do this. And yet I don't feel any more insecure than somebody 50 years old who's got a corporate job and is waiting for them to downsize.
I think we had 3 saxophones, a drummer, 3 guitars, and go-go dancers and a slideshow. And we were called Night Soil, and we did the same 4 songs for 2.5 hours over and over again, and people didn't leave.
The day that Hendrix died, I was suited up to practice with the football team, and I was just about to go on the field, and some other teammate came up and said that he heard that some guy named Jimi Hendrix died, and he thought I was into this Hendrix guy and I should know about it. And I quit the football team right then and there and decided I was going to devote my life to guitar, and went home and announced it to my family over dinner.
So they start the tape, and I start playing immediately, and all the way through, from the beginning of the song to the end of the song. And then they stopped the tape, and there was just silence for a moment. And they're obviously talking in the control room, and I'm sitting out there and see, well, what's going on? And Alan comes on the intercom, he says, "Let's try that again. But this time, don't play anything until he says, 'On the border.'" I go, "Yeah, but what about all these great riffs that I worked out? I'm a guitar player, I want to play the guitar. It was the greatest lesson I ever learned that day, that the difference between an instrumentalist and a musician. An instrumentalist knows how to play. A musician knows when to play.
I was able to go out early in the day, play all day, come home for dinner, and there wasn't that feeling of danger. Even though you would think Brooklyn was like that, but there was no sense of that. My mom and dad both worked, hard-working people, and a sense of family. I mean, no matter where we were, at 6 o'clock, the whole family, no matter what, was home for dinner. So that was very valuable. Years later, now I realize how valuable that sense of family is.
Come on, people now, smile on your brother. This is home. Now the sun is setting, and there ain't no fretting way down south. Lullabies are whispering, and the children listening way down south.
It's useless. Why don't you guys drop out? He said, "I've seen your band. I've heard the music that you guys played. You're way ahead of the curve. Just go for it." He said, "What are you doing here? You're just wasting time. Mine and yours." At first, we just thought he was just trying to get us out from under his, out of his hair. And then he sat and played, and he went, I know more about what you're doing and where you're going. It's just keep going there. This thing is getting in the way of your music. This music course that you're taking is messing up your musical focus.
And I said, you know what? Why don't you just give me a release? Because I'm done. And so I quit the music business. I went out and cut people's fields with my tractor, and I had a little bulldozer. Just simple old equipment. And it was really good for me to do that because, I found out that nobody has it easy.
My success was sort of meteoric and short-lived as far as on that scale, but, there's still a lot of artists I know who are looking for that to happen. I'm sort of glad it happened. I'll take it any way I can get it. And I'm sure that so many people would agree, because it's just so difficult to get noticed in this business, that I do have 5 or 6 hit songs that people know well. I can go out and tour and continue to do what I love, and it's great.
I was unemployed, and I had a little trio, and I played locally at gigs, but I didn't, the Allmans were finished, Sea Level were finished. I had a session every now and then, but I didn't have a band, and I was kind of like struggling, what's my next step? And to be honest with you, at one point I came in and said to Rose Lane, this land thing is getting in my blood, and the music thing seems to, for whatever reason, is kind of dying away here. Maybe I should just kind of consider doing this. And she said, yeah, but let me tell you something. You had a phone call today from the Rolling Stones.